if people should be looking at Bitcoin only, focus on Bitcoin only, how big is the opportunity if people act on that information? And I'll pull up your article because I love there's an illustration there that I really like. This this is the once in a species part. But yeah, you tell about this, and then maybe give some context also in this image to see where we're at in the bigger picture of history in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, how big is the opportunity? There's a number of ways you can answer that, but like a few are: do you want to retire?
Yes.
Do you ever want to retire? Do you want to enjoy your life with financial security and be able to not work? If you want to, I think Bitcoin adopters will disproportionately be able to do that. And I think a lot of people who do not adopt Bitcoin will not be able to do that. So that's pretty big right there.
Well, that's my motivation for the podcast is, your retirement is not non-existent,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like a different side of the same idea is Saylor's math that we just talked about. It's built on top of my Bitcoin full potential valuation framework. He thinks Bitcoin's going to be $13 million per coin in 20 years. And I think his logic is right. I think that's what we're heading for. And you can buy one of those for less than $100,000 a year or right now, right? You can buy one Bitcoin for less than $100,000, and it's going to go to $13 million per coin in 20 years. That's the opportunity. Like you could potentially get to a whole coin now, and that's only if you do the honest work to try to understand Bitcoin soon. And that window for potentially getting to a whole coin, I think, closes for pretty much everyone in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
So that's the opportunity. And then when we zoom out to this topic that I spent the last 4 to 6 months kind of digging deep into the research on, of trying to explain in the context of like the origins of money, and shelling out is a fantastic research essay by Nick Szabo that details in great depth how humanity developed money. Mm-hmm. And we did that through seashells being valued commodities, and then
that's hair, right? 142,000 years ago.
And in the course of so shelling out was written 20 years ago, and I wanted to dig into like what's the current state of all that stuff, all that anthropology, and I stumbled into some interdisciplinary findings that allowed me to put together like a potentially groundbreaking new hypothesis that fits all of this together about like why did humanity triumph over other early human species, and what makes us human. And it's kind of this combined answer of it's our capacity to appreciate and value scarce assets. In the first example, which was shells, becoming a form of proto money that allowed humanity to develop sort of emergent civilization level behavior and coordination across tribes, because you had money as a way to have constructive, positive intertribal relationships and transactions, and that like allowed for Homo sapiens sapiens to be a way more competitive early human group versus all the other existing archaic humans of Neanderthals and others that didn't have this sort of intertribal coordination. And part of the findings, the real crux of it is that there is a mutation that happened in humanity sometime between 300,000 and 160,000 years ago that caused a protein in our neocortex that is responsible for promoting neurogenesis in the very outermost layers of the neocortex on the frontal lobe to be supercharged, to basically go into overdrive and overdevelop the circuitry in those areas. And what does that circuitry do? It's responsible for abstract thought, which is what you need to engage in symbolic behavior and like valuing scarce assets. So, my hypothesis is that mutation caused us to have this drive to and fascination with scarce assets that enabled us to develop the concept of money when other early human groups didn't have that ability. And then the concept of money allowed us to be, gave us a competitive advantage over everything and allowed for, the development of civilization to occur slowly over time. So, if that's true, if that hypothesis is directionally correct, it means that what makes us human is our fascination with scarce assets. It's part of our DNA to covet scarce assets, and it's our competitive advantage as a species to covet scarce assets. And now here comes Bitcoin, which is the perfection of scarcity, which is to say it's the perfection of that which we've been seeking for the entirety of our species' existence. And that would explain why for the last 16 years we've seen the inevitable gravitation of all humans when they learn about Bitcoin, to realizing, oh shit, this thing is incredible and I want to own some of it because I value scarcity deep down. It's part of my DNA.